Like I said, it's a lose-lose for the WNBA.
The WNBA has just fallen into its biggest crisis ever. On one side, Caitlin Clark's absence is costing the league millions, with viewership crashing from a record-breaking 3.44 million to barely scraping 2 lakh. And on the other side, players' new demand has just added fuel to the fire, and the WNBA just seems at the verge of total collapse. If you think the WNBA is responsible for its own disaster, write "do justice" in the comments below. What caused the misery? Let's get straight into it.
We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face.
$1 million salaries. That's exactly what WNBA players asked for. So why are they now declining this generous offer?
The WNBA, with its double-standard referees, reckless physicality, ridiculous coaching, and constant mishandling of star player injuries, is crumbling right in front of us. And the real question is, can the league survive its biggest challenge yet? Or will it collapse under the weight of its own chaos?
If players hold their ground and next season is canceled, that is a potential death sentence. If the league increases the average salary to $1 million and interest continues to decline, you run the real risk of not being able to afford it.
All right, if you've been following WNBA games for a while, let me ask you this. What do you think was the biggest reason behind the sudden rise of the league? If you answered Caitlin Clark, you are absolutely right. And now that we all agree to that fact. Let me tell you another fact. The same Caitlin Clark has become the reason for its sudden fall. And the funniest part is that the WNBA itself is responsible for all this. See, from the moment she stepped on the court, everything changed. Arenas that were once half empty were suddenly the hottest ticket in town.
Caitlin Clark should be, she really should be getting paid many millions of dollars. Not because I'm interested in watching, but just because the fact that she's been able to generate any interest in the WNBA is you could argue it's one of the most impressive feats in human history. I honestly didn't think it was possible.
But that's not all. We have got numbers. Her debut season, Fever games were pulling in 1.8 to 2.2 million viewers regularly, numbers the WNBA had never seen before. On May 17th, when the Fever played the Sky, the game averaged 2.5 million viewers and peaked at 3.1 million. That wasn't just a good night. That was the single most watched WNBA game in ESPN history. And the All-Star game when Caitlin suited up? 3.44 million viewers, the biggest ever, period. And let's not forget what the WNBA did to her. They let refs swallow the whistle, let opponents beat her up, and now she's injured. And suddenly the shine disappears. When Caitlin missed this year's All-Star game, ratings plunged 36%. Ticket prices for the event in Indiana, her home state, where she was supposed to be the headliner, collapsed almost overnight. We're talking get-in prices dropping nearly 50%, from over $120 to barely $60. It was the fastest and sharpest collapse the WNBA has ever seen. And let's be real, no other player, not even the league's past MVPs, has ever had this kind of impact. And don't act surprised. If your league's survival depends on one star, maybe treat her like one. But you didn't. You ignored the obvious, and now you're paying for it. And remember, the Caitlin Clark effect is real. Numbers have been telling you this. We have been telling you this. She built the hype. She filled the seats. She brought the eyeballs.
If I wasn't here, right, in this organization, what would happen? What would happen to this organization if they didn't have me? Right? And in Caitlin Clark's case, her departure would be devastating to the organization. It would be a catastrophe. It would be the apocalypse.
And now, with her sidelined, the cracks in the league are wide open for everyone to see. But here's where it gets even messier. Because just as the money started flowing in, the players started saying, "Pay us more." And that's a whole new storm for the WNBA. Pay us more story. While the heat had been bubbling for a long time, it all exploded during the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. Players walked in wearing bold black shirts that screamed, "Pay us what you owe us." And it wasn't just a fashion statement. It was the most pressurizing demand for high salaries. The clip went viral, social media blew up, and suddenly the league was cornered. And under all that pressure, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert caved. She rolled out new pay structures, talking about quadruple salary increases for top players.
So I think you'll see the revenue sharing be a much more lucrative one as we go forward. because we're in a better place, quite frankly. So I think, again, that's why I'm so optimistic that we're going to do something transformational here, because we want the same things as the players want.
Now that sounds good, right? But let me go a bit deeper. Right now, the average WNBA player makes about $102,000. The minimum sits around $66,000, while the absolute max is about $180,000, $250,000. So yeah, quadrupling those top salaries does move the needle. For the first time, some players could clear over $1 million a season.
There is no denying the fact that Caitlin Clark has elevated this turd, and with the money the dump is now generating, $66,000 a year is low. To her credit, Kat Engelbert acknowledged that. She tried to relate to these unknown players. She tried to feel their financial pain.
And honestly, that's not bad. If you ask me, it was a real chance for the league and the players to meet in the middle, but nope. New reports say many stars flat out rejected it. Yes, you heard it right. Why? Because they don't just want raises, they want a cut of the revenue. Maybe they want the NBA model, 50% of all basketball-related income. Now here's where it gets messy. The players are talking about walkouts, marches, and even boycotts if their demands aren't met by the end of the current CBA in October. Imagine this. The league finally gets the spotlight thanks to Caitlin Clark, and then the players themselves pull the plug. That would be chaos. And chaos, if we're being honest, is nothing new for the WNBA, because behind all of this drama sits the league's real problems. The problem's so deep, money alone can't fix it. The WNBA's core problems. And if you want to guess what the real problems are, just rewind any WNBA game this season. The evidence is right there, every single night. Let's start with the elephant in the room, officiating. The whistle in the WNBA is like playing roulette. Sometimes it blows, sometimes it doesn't, and half the time nobody knows why. Caitlin Clark literally got shoved to the ground. No ejection, no real consequence. Meanwhile, other players get babysat by refs as if they're untouchable. Nah, it's not consistency, that's bias. Even Sophie Cunningham called out the refs publicly. And when your own players are clowning officiating on camera, that's rock bottom. And it's not just one bad call here or there. There's no central replay system, no real developmental pipeline for referees. Basically, we've got a professional league running on backyard-level officiating. How do you build credibility when stars themselves don't even trust the whistle? But let's not stop there. Coaching has been a disaster too. Take Indiana Fever's handling of Caitlin Clark, the biggest draw in women's basketball, and yet the rotations, the schemes, the protection around her, like completely non-existent.
Are you going to talk about your defense? You're supposed to be the defensive guru, right?
As successful as we can be.
This lady's a joke, man. She's so full of it. She's so full of herself and full of it, man.
She's overplayed, underprotected, and, shocker, now injured. Tell me how that helps any league long term. Fans tune in for her, and she's sidelined because of sheer mismanagement. And Clark's not alone. Angel Reese, also missing time, second of the league's 2 most watched stars. Ratings tank, ticket prices collapse. Surprise, surprise. You think fans are going to pay $200 a seat to watch second stringers while the stars are sitting in street clothes? Nah.
Caitlin Clark has been out a month and 1 day. Angel Reese has been out for the last week and a half. This past Saturday, neither of them played on the court. This past Saturday, Angel Reese said, not even worth my time, I'm not showing up. She stayed home.
So here's the reality. Poor officiating, poor coaching, and injuries to your biggest names. That's not just bad luck. That's a pattern. And patterns like this kill leagues. Because honestly, how do you make a league sustainable when every headline is about chaos, injuries, or referees instead of basketball? The WNBA can't keep running on hype and excuses. And now the question is, if all of this keeps snowballing, what happens next? What happens next? Because if the WNBA keeps running the way it's been running, let's be honest, it won't be running for long. First, the obvious one, ratings and revenue will keep tanking. We've already seen it. Caitlin Clark goes down, Angel Reese sits out, and boom. Viewership crumbles from millions to thousands. And if the league can't protect and promote its stars, those billion-dollar TV contracts, well, they will be gone. Those shiny new sponsors, gone. Because, let me say it, you can't sell primetime if nobody's watching.
The WNBA is showing growth, but these ratings, they are nowhere close to what they were when Caitlin Clark was healthy. And it's not just the ratings decline. There seems to be declining interest this season in the WNBA.
And then there's the nuclear bomb waiting to go off. A work stoppage. Yes. With the CBA expiring in October, players are already threatening walkouts and boycotts. Imagine this. A league already bleeding fans, then suddenly no games at all. You might as well hand the shovel to the WNBA and let it dig its own grave. Well, that's what it is. Oh, and don't forget the talent drain. Players are already peeking over at the unrivaled league, where the paychecks look better and the management actually listens. If the WNBA can't match that, the stars walk, the product crumbles, and the fans follow. Simple as that. Now, solutions? Yeah, there are solutions. Protect your stars. Stop letting Caitlin Clark get mauled every night like it's a wrestling match. Fix officiating with replay, training, and actual consistency. Give coaches the tools to build real strategies instead of just running players into the ground. But here's the kicker. Well, even if all of that is obvious, will the WNBA actually do it? Because so far, it's been more spin than solutions, more PR than progress. And every time they delay, fans get more frustrated, sponsors get nervous, and the league's reputation sinks. So here's the crossroads. Fix the problems now or face the collapse later. Because if nothing changes, we're looking at a league that loses its stars, loses its fans, loses its sponsors, and eventually loses its future. What do you think?